Well, a new study finds small business owners continue to feel successful despite challenges in the economy and low optimism. Insurance executive Ray Sprague is here to talk about the study. Ray is Senior Vice President of the Hartford's Small Commercial Insurance segment. Welcome, Ray.
Hi, Frank, and thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. I'd like to start off with a question of a general nature. Well, what does success mean for small business owners?
Well, Frank, first I can start with the context for the survey. This is the second annual survey that Hartford completed of small business owners on success. And we're really focused on what makes them successful, how do they define success, and also some of the risks and barriers to future success they see. And it was a very comprehensive study, 2,000 small businesses over the telephone, asking them 50 questions. And, we need to remind ourselves, I think, about how important small business is to the economy, to our communities, and to companies like the Hartford and the agents that we support. But we really saw three primary takeaways from the survey. First while they're very concerned about the economic recovery and the pace of recovery, they're very optimistic about themselves and their success. They view themselves as being successful even in light of these difficult economic times. They do, however, see some risks. And the second point is that the areas of risk that they're most concerned about, slow economic growth, of course, but taxation and the threat of increased federal regulation is a big concern for small businesses. But even in light of those concerns, the things that I love about small businesses is they're very resilient. And they're focused on what they need to do to adjust to be successful in the future. And they cite things like looking at their business plans and updating their plans for the future. They look at getting closer to their customer base and then looking for new avenues of growth, new things they can do. But they're focused on moving forward, about even in the light of the uncertainty, to find ways to continue to pursue their dreams and what they're really passionate about as a small business owner.
Great, thank you. It's my understanding that medical practices are among the customer base that you serve, and many independent physician practices across the country are small businesses with just a few employees. What are the most important strategies that these medical practices can take to protect their business and their employees?
Thanks, Frank. Well, small business is a big part of the Hartford's business, and we, about 3 decades ago, started a business focused on small businesses. We now have over 1 million policies in force, and physicians' practices make up a significant portion of our customer base. And we're proud to serve them. And we have some really special things that we provide as far as protections and services for physicians' practices. Like all small businesses, when we talk to physicians, their employees are very important to them. And they're like family. They're essential to their success. And one of the things that's unique with physicians' practices is the risk of needle sticks. And so the workers' compensation insurance that they carry responds to injuries that would result from that. But when we talked to them, they were concerned immediately to find out if someone's been exposed to a disease when they were stuck by a needle. And so we extended our services to include testing of the patient, if they'll allow it, so that we can give them some immediate feedback on whether or not they've been exposed to a disease. And so that's an extension of the service when they buy workers' compensation from the Hartford. The second product that I think is important for the practices and where there's some uniqueness to physicians' practices is their business owner's policy, called a BOP. But it's a business owner's policy. It covers their building, their contents, their equipment. And more and more physicians have very high-priced medical equipment in their facilities, and it's an extension of their business model. And that's exposed to the typical exposures like a fire or sprinkler leakage, and the policy provides that protection for them. But also things like mechanical breakdown, a power surge that can affect that very expensive equipment. And we've offered that extension within the business owner's policy and provide that coverage for them there. Another very important thing is business interruption. And we saw the impacts of the power outages with recent Superstorm Sandy can be very long-term in nature. And the coverage provided under the business owner's policy by the Hartford includes something called stretch endorsements, which are extensions of coverage, which can include, if they're purchased, things like off-premises power interruption. And it can include spoilage in case the power interruptions results in their refrigeration going down. And physicians' practices can have goods in their care that that can be affected by temperature change. Some of the medicines can be affected by temperature change, and so that's an important coverage for them to have, as well as the interruption of their practice. If they don't have power, they can't be operating, and we offer some very tailored solutions for physicians' practices where it cuts down on the administration of that claim, where they can actually purchase a specific amount of insurance by the day for a period of time if their business is interrupted by a covered loss event.
Great, thank you. You mentioned the needle stick issue as kind of an emerging area where there could be risk for a small business such as a medical practice. Are there other emerging risks for small practice physicians that they should be prepared for in terms of their insurance coverage?
Well, one area of emerging risk that we see broadly, but specifically also in physicians' practices, would be data breach. So we all hear about data breach associated with a large credit card company or a big box store that may have had an incident. But actually, studies have shown that over 70% of data breaches occur at small businesses like a physician's practice. And so at the Hartford, we developed a product that offers coverage for data breaches for small businesses. And it's an extension to that business owner's policy and provides them protection if a data breach occurred. But as important as the insurance itself, it provides consultation services pre-breach and post-breach so that they can get the advice and counsel in how to prepare for it, how to prevent it, and how to respond when it does happen. If a data breach occurs, most states have a regulation which requires notification to the customers whose data has been compromised. And so we provide, as part of the coverage, as part of that protection that they have, we provide services for the contact to those customers that have been affected, but also liability protection in the event that they are liable for damages because of that data breach. So that's an emerging risk area and an innovative product development that's recently been available to physicians' practices.
You talked a little bit about Hurricane Sandy, which just recently devastated the Middle Atlantic and Northeast. What types of insurance should small business owners have to be prepared for natural disasters of a wide variety of nature?
Well, Hurricane Sandy was a large event, as you know, and our thoughts and prayers go out for those that are affected by it. And we're really thankful to the emergency personnel and the volunteers that are helping people get back on their feet. And at the Hartford, we've deployed our catastrophe claims teams. We're working around the clock to meet the needs of customers. But I really think the first thing is for anyone in preparation is to be working with a quality, independent agent that will take the time to understand their business, understand the needs of that specific business because they are different, and make sure they have a comprehensive insurance program in place that provides not only the base coverages like the business owner's policy, but if they're in an area for flood, there's flood protection through the National Flood Program that they may have to consider. Business interruption, we talked about the importance of that coverage, making sure that they have that. But considering all areas of risk that can emerge so that at that time of need, at the time of that event, that they can get back on their feet right away. The difference between having the right coverage, the right protection, tailored for their specific business means getting back on your feet in days versus weeks, months, or even years. And an interruption could be devastating to a small business. So an insurance professional, to again understand them, understand their specific needs, tailor a program with a quality company, insurance provider, is really important in their preparedness.
Well, this is great information. If physicians or office managers at small practices would like to get more information about their insurance needs or coverage needs, where can they get more information?
Well, again, they can work with an independent insurance agent at thehartford.com. There's terrific resources for a business. There is product guides available to them where they can become educated on the various products, workers' compensation that protects their employees if they're injured, both the medical care as well as lost wages. The business owner's policy, which again covers their building, their contents, and their stock, and very, very broad coverage, but the guide can help them understand all the various coverages. And of course, if they have owned autos in their business, they need auto liability as well. Also on the site, they can see some success stories, I should say, of small businesses and some of the experiences they've had at their time of need. And I think that's a good way to get your mind working as far as what the different exposures you have and how you can be prepared for that in the future.
Great. Well, thanks very much for your time and sharing your comments with us, Ray. It's greatly appreciated.
Frank, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.